Let's get this show on the road, and we're going to start intimate. I want you to imagine there's a little fire there. It's cool in Melbourne, and we're going to have a little fireside chat. And to do that, I'd like to welcome Simone, Joyce from Paypa and Lee Hatton from Afterpay to the stage. While they come up, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the pair of them and our conversation, which is going to be about customer centricity in designing a product and how Afterpay Money will change the way Gen Z and Millennials save money, just as it changed the game with spending. Welcome. Put your hands together for the pair of them. I'll give you... Now, of our speakers, Lee has over 20 years' experience internationally in the financial services industry and has had senior executive roles in marketing, strategy and risk with large customer-facing businesses. In 2020, she joined the global executive team at Afterpay and is responsible for driving the business's strategy for new products and services. She was previously CEO of UBank for 5 years and has been recognised by IBM of one of 40 women leaders in artificial intelligence across the globe for her work, which is pretty impressive. She is a non-executive director of Xero and has previously been an executive director of NAB Ventures and the Executive Connection. Please put your hands together for Lee. And she's got sparkly shoes, which I love too. Sparkly shoes are very important at conferences. And Simone is the CEO of Paypa, a payment technology company she co-founded in September 2017. Paypa is a bank-grade platform where traditional scheduled payments and MPPAs, in new mandated payments, it's a little bit early for acronyms, isn't it? Designed for banks and payment service providers looking to rapidly evolve their product offering without changing their core systems. And I know that's a lovely idea, a very attractive one to banks. So please put your hands together for our amazing first speaker and moderator.
Good morning. There we are. Good morning, everyone. It is lovely to see all your faces live and in person. I can see so many familiar and new faces, so it's a pleasure to see you all here today. And it's a pleasure to be sitting with you, Lee. First cab off the rank today, no pressure on us.
Oh, no, thank you. And I agree. How cool is it to see so many familiar faces here today? It's awesome. So, you know, congratulations to the team for pulling this together. It's great.
It will be a good festival. So I think that that probably everyone wants to kick off and start hearing about Afterpay.
Sure.
Now, we just heard a lovely summary of your experience.
Yeah.
Could you just go into a little bit more detail about your role at Afterpay now? And then we might wind back a little bit and start unpacking some of the things behind where Afterpay's up to now.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so about... Gosh, it's coming up to a year since I joined Afterpay, and kind of the key conversation that Ant and Nick and I had over the years, like this is, I remember in 2017 being introduced to Nick, and he was like, really want to understand culture, and we were doing some really special stuff at UBank at the time, and you know, to meet he would have been like in his early 20s, running this amazing new startup with this huge vision and talking about culture when you have like 12 people. I just thought, man, this company's special. And we talked a lot over the years. And so, it would be like 12 months ago, we started having the conversation about what is the second album of Afterpay? You know, like when you're doing so well in the space of buy now, pay later, and you've got this hugely engaged customer base that really wants to do more with their money than ever before. How do you take that permission and do something special with it? And so, of course, my background is financial services, but like the topic of today, the real opportunity is what is the customer experience around all of that for the future. So my role is second album, what does that look like? Think big, think global, and a blank sheet of paper effectively with this hugely engaged customer base.
I'm looking forward to seeing the album cover.
Yeah.
But looking at the customers, when Afterpay first came to market, it was really driven by merchant adoption.
Yeah.
And then driving on to the end consumer or the buyer adoption. Recently, that seems to have changed around, that consumer demand might also be driving merchant adoption at this point. Was that switch in dynamic planned, or was that something that happened organically and now you're really looking at consolidating that lead of consumers demanding Afterpay?
Yeah, as many of you would know, not a lot is planned, right? When you are running these companies at a rate of knots, and sometimes there are just amazing happy coincidences that occur. And of course, we were really, really fortunate that merchants gave us the shot, and of course they remain absolutely critical to our strategy. And then of course the consumer, they're always right and often wrong, right? Like they get to demand what it is that they want. And so I think that was where the pivot really started to occur, because Afterpay became a behavior for these consumers. And so it was very natural for them to turn up to make a purchase, to ask for Afterpay. And so I think that was kind of one of the key pivots and shifts. But I think, our two-sided platform, where you've got tens of thousands of merchants of one side and millions of consumers on the other. That's just here in Australia alone. You can really kind of see the power that you can balance that out so perfectly. So our ability to deliver to merchants real value through consumer leads. And again, these are in the millions that we do these things, as well as the consumer having the opportunity to get access to merchants that they may have never seen, right? But get access to goods that they want now in a way in which they can budget for the future is really important.
So the second album of Afterpay is really addressing the evolution of consumer needs.
Yeah.
Will we see the same evolution on the merchant side as well? Will we see an evolution of those services that merchants can access on the Afterpay platform too?
Yeah, so I think it's, again, like all of you will be facing, you just constantly look at your customer and you work out the biggest problems they need to solve for, right? And so, of course, on the consumer side, we could see that there's this real possibility around money and what money means. And then on the merchant side, I think, as we all know, and I'm also a director on the board of Xero as well, but for small businesses, access to capital or other adjacencies, I mean, we're such an important tool for those merchants to have. We'll definitely be asking those questions of them for the future.
What are some of the tools and strategies that you use to keep in really tight contact with what your customers are demanding next? Is it one team for each side of the platform, or is it one team going for both?
Yeah, I think because we've kind of grown up together, right? So the DNA of the company is so customer focused, and the customer is the merchant or the customer is the consumer. And so many of the team, like we're all customers, right? And so on the consumer side, so as a result of that, not only are we constantly researching and being critical of our own product and experience, which is, that's pretty hard when we're constantly critiquing it, but good. And I think on the merchant side, I mean, we're always, I certainly know I spend a lot of time with merchants just asking questions about how it's working, what it's working for. And then, of course, the virality is so special, right? Because Afterpay has built this amazing brand, and it is such a success story for Australia. And so it's almost like you have 6 degrees of separation around you. So I couldn't go to a breakfast or a dinner or a barbecue or whatever it is without someone saying, oh, I used Afterpay the other day and this happened. Or I used it the other day and this didn't happen. And so I think we're building like this viral advocacy.
And I've often heard, I wish I could Afterpay my life. Is that something is that something that the Afterpay team was really aware of in making the decision around what to do next?
Yeah, like our NPS is like off the charts, right? It's over 80. And I mean, it's wonderful to be tracking customer satisfaction all the time, both on the merchant side and on the consumer side. And this whole concept of Afterpay My Life, like if you strip all that back, because of course it's a fantastic hashtag, right? But if you strip it all back, it's a call for the next evolution of what money does and how you use it and how you look after it and how you structure it. And so I think for us, we have this amazing vision of fairness and financial freedom for all. right? So fairness and financial freedom for all. It's like, imagine a team that gets to play with that as a vision every day, and how you bring that to life with the concept of Afterpay My Life is, wow, simplicity is such an amazing thing that we've been able to do. Transparency is something that we've always held very dear. And then this element of trust that we have to get it right, I think that really drives us.
So when the announcement of the partnership with 10X came out, was it last year? I've lost track of time. Just last October, it feels like a long time ago. That was a real line in the sand. Everyone kind of sat up and went, oh, there's life after Afterpay. What happens next? Can you talk us through what some of the decision-making matrix was around partnering and not actually building out your own in-house solution there?
Yeah, so I think, again, when you've got this blank sheet of paper, you're always going to take an assessment of, build, buy, partner, like what is the best way forward? And for us to kind of move into, we want this joy of savings to feel as good as when you're spending. Right, and that's like a super hard ask. But for us, we didn't want to spend the time on kind of the regulatory side of that equation. So getting a banking license, speed to market, the opportunity being in front of us, we really kind of had to assess, all those kind of things as we went through it. And I think also too, it was really nice to see a big Australian bank looking for a path forward for the future as well. So I'd been fortunate enough in my days in Ubank to have a look at a lot of cloud native core banking things, which is like so much more fun to talk about over dinner. But having kind of looked at all of that, to see that Westpac had taken this investment in 10X and that they were committed to looking at this whole new path, it felt like a really good partnership to bring together. And it's hard, right? Like you'll often the team and I will say, would it be easier if we just went on our own? And it's like, no, nothing, like it always sounds easier when you go on your own, but actually doing something together is far more special. So I think for us, we work really closely, like every single day with the Westpac team. And yeah, we're really enjoying bringing it to life, actually.
Is there a sneaky preview date of when we can see the first live Afterpay Money?
A sneaky preview date. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to have it live on my phone next week, which is very, very exciting. But yeah, so yeah, watch this space. It's coming soon.
It sounds like it's imminent, which is very exciting. So with that shift, now we've got the concept of Afterpay savings. We've got bank accounts coming in. How did that ripple through the culture at Afterpay itself? Was it a change in the goalposts and people were sort of, oh, I didn't know we were doing savings? Or was it really a natural evolution for people who actually work at Afterpay? Because you've got a team that's spread out across quite a few locations. It's a strong team and it's a big team.
Yeah.
How did this change play out through there?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, when you've been amazing at one thing, and like your strength is in your focus, our ability to kind of expand that out has been really, really important to the culture. And so you can never, in circumstances like this, you can never over-communicate, right? And so I think what's been really important is that, Nick and Ant are obviously massive champions for Afterpay's global future. And I think the team, we've grown. We were, 600 people this time last year. Now we're 1,200, right? Like it's significant scaling and it's completely global. So most of those people are in the US and they've never ever been into an office of ours. So culturally, you need to take that gently but excitingly. And so for us, we've been very, very clear kind of from the outset. We talk about build, scale, evolve, right? So in each of our markets, we're either building, so it might be a brand new market for us. We're either scaling, so we're doing really well, but we need to take that next level of scale, or we're ready to evolve. And of course, here in Australia, we're ready to evolve. So this is a natural first market for us to get that evolution going.
There's another element to Afterpay that I think would probably affect your team and
Yeah.
also your customers, and that's the fascination that we all have with Afterpay share price. Do you find that has an effect on any of your customer feedback or any of the data that you're collecting from usage as that roller coaster is being ridden?
I mean, the taxi driver on the way in was asking me about it. So, yeah, I reckon most people have a very healthy fascination with it. I think probably for me, the learning in it, so customers don't tend to talk about it. I saw a really cool thing this morning, and it said, you know, how is it that you can spend, it's like $1,000 on Apple Pay and you've never bought an Apple share, right? Like, or how is it that you've spent all this time on Instagram but you've never put a share on Facebook? And I think those kind of things for investing for the future are really going to become quite interesting, especially for this next generation. And I also too think, you know, having a company where everybody is a shareholder and can actually see a tangible move in the things that they do every day, like I would have to say it's a rocket ship and a roller coaster. And as kind of Gen X as I'll sound, like I like Warren Buffett's kind of hold it steady, right? Invest in things that you love and believe in and with people that you trust and admire. And that's only going to go up.
If only I could Afterpay some Afterpay shares, that would be good.
Never say never. Never say never. Yeah. Yeah, someone's taken that idea now. Yeah.
All right.
Well, you were telling me last night about Ink Pay.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we were talking about the niching of the buy now, pay later industry, and one of the most specific I've seen is Ink Pay for tattoos.
Excellent. And then remove pay for those that want to remove the tattoo.
Regret pay.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that sounds good.
Maybe next time. Maybe next.
Yeah. That's another whiteboard session.
That's right. So just coming back to your methodology of life cycle for each new market.
Yep.
Does it follow then that we'll see Afterpay Money and banking services coming to America in years to come?
Oh, absolutely. This whole build, scale, evolve, we will follow our customers, right? And so, again, on the merchant and consumer side, I think, you know, if there is a good demand, I mean, we've been pulled into this space. And so I think that's really exciting. And of course, we have, much like I think most of the companies in this room, you've got to have a global mentality. And so for us, absolutely, all the research that we do, we actually do it globally. Yep. We don't do anything just locally. And of course, we do qual and quant. And so we can have focus groups in the US. We've got a great team over there in the UK because we're also there. We're in Europe now, you know. So I think that's the wonderful thing about having a global mindset and thinking about evolution. That's kind of the mentality it gets you into. And our vision is so huge, you know, fairness and financial freedom for all. It doesn't box you in any particular way. So, yeah, super exciting.
Okay, fabulous. Well, we are just about bang on time, which I'm very excited about. I thought we'd be rushing and going over. The last question I had for you, Lee, is Afterpay your forever job?
Oh, my goodness. Is Afterpay my forever job?
Is Afterpay your life?
Oh, is Afterpay my life? Oh, as in, is the hashtag actually deeply personal? Well, do you know what? I would say absolutely for now, right? Like, I think, is it my life? I don't know. I mean, every day's a new day, and, you know, if InkPay can turn up tomorrow, I mean, who knows? But no, we've got a long road ahead.
I feel like we should just check, is anyone from InkPay actually in the room, just in case?
Oh. Well, we've put them on the mark today. We really put them on the mark. Yeah.
Okay. All right, fabulous. Thank you, Lee. It's
awesome.
A pleasure talking to you, as always. And thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of Intersect, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all personally later.
Yay!